Good morning. Welcome to Hindu Newspaper Analysis, 12th December 2022. Today is Universal Health Coverage Day. The day is observed to raise awareness about health coverage and its significance. It was mentioned by some of the NGOs, health expenditure is one of the reasons for the rise in poverty in India. Around 60% of family expenditures will goes to health if something went wrong in their family. To cover this particular problem, to solve this particular issue, Government of India launched Ayushman Bharat scheme, which will provide insurance to the family with an amount of 5 lakh rupees to help the families in secondary and tertiary health care. Next, today's first article talks about Stop Grading Terrorists as Good and Bad India in UN. It was mentioned by Hillary Clinton in one of her speeches. A snake in your backyard doesn't harm your neighbors, it may affect you. It signifies that terrorism in one country doesn't affect only neighboring countries. It may affect the country which is supporting terrorism. If you see in practical terms, Pakistan was worst affected by terrorism because around 2015 there was a bomb blast attack in a school in Karachi where 140 children died who are Pakistanis. But there is a kind of soft corner approach when dealing with terrorists by the different countries. Here, Pakistan is a clarion example for all of us how it will play tactics with terrorist groups when those terrorist groups are against the India. So, under such political circumstances, our Indian permanent representative to UN, Ruchira Kamboj, gave a call to the member countries of UN to tackle this terrorism in a comprehensive manner. We should remember that India is right now President of United Nations Secretary Council for the next 1 month. Under that, India conducted this session and India clearly raised concerns over countries' soft corner approach towards a terrorist and designating them as a bad and good terrorist. We should remember that India is also campaigning a dedicated policy in UN, that is Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. So this Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism, which was put forward by India in 1986 but still not implemented, which speaks that countries are not in a position to align with India's demand. Next article talks about India urged to adopt ASEAN consensus on Myanmar. We should remember that Myanmar is part of Association of Southeast ASEAN Nations. Association of Southeast Asian Nations, a group which formed in 1967, considered to be one of the first supranational authority, meaning the authority which was formed by assembling of group of countries. Another such supranational authority was European Union. Now, Myanmar is facing a typical problem because since its independence, Myanmar doesn't enjoy a full-fledged democratic status. In fact, Myanmar celebrated democracy a few years back, but it was a short-term celebration. Now, Myanmar is under military rule, which is a junta rule, which is called, the military is called as That Ma Dao, and the countries even ASEAN are bifurcated. For example, countries like Cambodia supporting the Myanmar's military rule, whereas countries like Indonesia are critical against the military rule. Now, India is urging to adopt ASEAN consensus on Myanmar, in which ASEAN group can take a decision rather than having a diversified opinion on Myanmar. Locate Myanmar countries. If possible, locate the states which are bordering Myanmar. Next article talks about Rajendra Singh joins Save Godavari campaign. We are well aware that Godavari is the largest river in the South India, and it is often called as Dakshina Ganga. A campaign was led now in the name of Save Godavari by the local people, and it is to raise awareness about Godavari conservation against its pollution. And right now they are conducting several campaigns, and the India's famous Rajendra Singh, who is also called as Waterman of India, came to attend this meeting, and this particular campaign is to fight against the illegal encroachment into Godavari riverine regions and to save eco-sensitive zones of Godavari from the illegal tourism activities. Next article talks about crypto regulation, a key focus area as G20 finance talks begin tomorrow. Recently, G20 presidency take over by India on December 1st, and since then we are having series of meetings. Began with the first meeting of G20 Sherpa conducted in Udaipur, city of lakes in Rajasthan. Now we are going to see the second meeting. The second meeting of G20 finance and central bank deputies in Bangalore. According to Ministry of Finance press report, the meeting will mark the beginning of finance track agenda under G20, and this includes discussions about global financial challenges, financing cities of tomorrow, managing global debt vulnerabilities, advancing finance inclusion and productive gains. And discussions may goes on the cryptocurrencies. Hope you aware about cryptocurrencies. The cryptocurrencies are non-fiat currencies which are regulated at private handles, and it is also worked on the blockchain technology. So discussions will start tomorrow onwards. We will wait and watch for the next developments. Next article talks about Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu takes oath as CM of Himachal Pradesh, and it is also mentioned that BJP government is continuing the earliest CM of Gujarat, Bhupendra Patel. Now we will try to understand from the polity point of view. Part 6 of Indian Constitution deals with the states. From Article 163 to 164 deals with the Council of Ministers in states. 163 says that Council of Ministers to aid and advise the governor, and 164 talks about CM. Clause 1 talks about CM shall be appointed by the governor and the other ministers shall be appointed by the governor on the aid and advice of Chief Minister. On the advice of Chief Minister, and all the ministers shall hold the office during the pleasure of governor. At the same time, CM also had a duty to disclose information about administration time to time with the governor. Next article talks about an interview with ILO Director General Gilbert F. Hungabo. And this has to be remembered from the few days back article Singapore Declaration of ILO, which focused on collective efforts and resources for the decent work of all, and foundation for the social and employment protection from all the members, and resilience employment, and rising productivity and growth and skills of the workers. So this is part of Singapore Declaration, which was explained by Director General recently in the interview. Clean Ganga changes course to conservation, tourism, livelihood. We should aware that in 2014, Clean Ganga, in the name of Namami Ganga project was launched, and that was one of the highly prestigious, ambitious program of the BJP government at that time. Since then, Government of India launched a separate mission, National Mission for Clean Ganga, even a separate ministry for it, and finally, it achieved subsequent standards in cleaning the Ganga. Now, in 2019, when Prime Minister addressing a conference, he said that it is a time to turn from Namami Ganga to Ardh Ganga, that is harnessing economic potential from Ganga, in which the policy outlines are promoting tourism, organic farming, and also heritage tourism. Apart from that, conservation of ecosystem, tourism promotion, livelihood, employment generation, and monetization of reuse of sludge and wastewater, chemical-free farming, promotion of cow dung as a fertilizers through Govardhan scheme. So these are some of the goals under the Ardh Ganga. Next article talks about what is end-to-end encryption and why tech companies are focusing on it. Recently, Apple company announced that it will raise the production by end-to-end encryption. And here comes the point, what is end-to-end encryption? It is a communication process that encrypts data being shared between two devices. For example, if I am texting to some person called as A, the third person cannot see or cannot decode the communication. It prevents the third parties like cloud services providers, internet service providers, cyber criminals from accessing data which is being transferred. So this uses an algorithm and transforms standard text into an unreadable format. This format can be unscammable and read by those with description keys, which are only stored on endpoints and not with any third parties, including companies which are providing the services. So this is a quite solid security system of the communications. Last article discussed about cultural diplomacy as an attempt to restore traditional traditions. In his speech in Kasi Sangam, and in which our External Affairs Minister mentions about cultural diplomacy. What comes under cultural diplomacy? India is a diversified country which is the birthplace of Hinduism and Buddhism, even Jainism also. Now we are able to promote our culture, heritage, and even history from recent past onwards. Even globally, India has a huge reputation for its cultural diversity. Hassan Rouhani, the former president of Iran, said, and I quote, "India is living museum of religious diversity." You need to remember that this quotation explains about how India is prized by the other countries and our diversity was recognized by other countries. Apart from that, in one of his speech, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, he mentioned that Jews never persecuted and protected in India. So that is the strength of the India in terms of protecting diversified cultures. So that can be a potential tool for diplomacy in India. That's all for today. Thank you so much and Jai Hind.